Welcome to Web3 and Me, presented by FLOLiO. In this video, I'm going to be recapping the Future Proof presentation that was just put on today by Kevin Rose, Justin Mazzell, and the remainder of the Proof team. Before we get going, please like today's show, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content, and head to FLOLiO.com for all of your NFT portfolio needs. So as we jump into this, the Future Proof call is something that the Proof Collective team has done in the past as they kind of set out their roadmap for what is to come. I want to give first a little bit of background on Proof, Moonbirds, and the other aspects of today's call. So Proof Collective was an NFT launched by Justin Rose and team back in December of 2021. It is a pass consisting of 1,000 NFTs that grants access to the Proof Discord. It's given holders mint passes for their grails, which was discussed in the call today as well. It also gave holders 2 Moonbirds apiece, which turned out to be a great value, and there's more to come in the future. Now, Moonbirds, which you may have heard of before, are Proof Collective's PFP. So they have been raffled off back in April of this year, went for 2 ETH apiece, sold out quickly, was one of the hottest mints of the year and of NFT history. They've done a ton of volume since then, have become very popular. There have been some issues here and there, but today's presentation, in my opinion, squashed a lot of those and was a really big step forward for Proof and Moonbirds. And then the oddities are the third piece of the puzzle. They were airdropped to all Moonbirds that were nested. So nesting is Proof's and Moonbird's way of staking something. So the longer you have a Moonbird nested, once you hit milestones, you get different rewards. And the oddities were the first reward that was given out to people who nested their bird for 30 days. So those are, the basics for anyone who is getting into the NFT space, new to Moonbirds, trying to give you just a high level view. So let's get into the actual presentation today. It was about an hour and 15-minute video. I'm going to try to keep this to about 15 minutes, but I recommend if you want to learn more and get an even more, in-depth picture of it, see what the team is all about, you should absolutely go watch it. It'll be worth your time. So to start the video, they kind of recapped what Proof has done so far. They've grown their team from 4 people to 30 people, and they're really focusing on engineering and design moving forward. They're also looking to build a top 3 project that is a global community. So right off the bat, one thing that I found really cool was that they're focusing on IRL events. So trying to get people together, more stuff in person, and not just the typical events in New York or Miami or LA. They're still going to do those, but they want to go worldwide with it. So they announced the Proof Roadshow, which is going to have meetups in Lisbon, Portugal, Paris, France, Berlin, Germany, and London. So really, really cool that they're doing this. It's not going to be massive. It's not going to be on a huge scale like NFT NYC. That's not feasible in every city, but they're going to focus a little bit more on people connecting, getting to know each other, the holders becoming more intertwined. Still a bit of a party, but a little bit less so than the NFT NYC event. They also said that they're going to have a meetup in San Francisco on September 13th, as well as tonight on Tuesday, they're doing a meetup in Venice to kind of celebrate this whole presentation today. Another thing that people were looking for more information on is going to be Proof of Conference, which is going to be their huge blowout event next year, bigger than what they did at NFT NYC this year. I'm assuming bigger than what they're going to do at NFT NYC in future years. Like, this is going to be their marquee event, similar to how VCon was for Gary Vee's project, VeeFriends. So it's going to be a multi-day event. There's going to be art exhibitions. They're going to do some cool live mint experiences. And there's going to be a lot of talks like you normally see at these conferences from leaders in the space. Kevin Rose has a lot of connection to great artists, great people in the tech world. So I'd have to imagine it's going to be a pretty star-studded lineup of presenters. Holders of the Proof Pass, so those 1,000 people, are going to have free VIP tickets. Moonbirds and Oddities holders are going to have access to are going to have first access to tickets, and they're going to get them at a discounted rate. So not free. You can't, it's going to be tough to give free to every single holder because there's a lot of Moonbirds holders, but you are going to get a discount and you are going to have access before non-holders to get into the event. They've briefly discussed that they want to really take it worldwide, head out to Asia and Australia because they know they have a lot of holders in those parts of the world as well. And it really is cool that they are focusing on creating some great in-person experiences. I think that that's a huge piece of the puzzle with NFTs that people are going to really start to connect the dots of why this is valuable is, the online and the IRL. If we can bring those together, that's really, really cool. So they, from here, took the presentation to 3 different parts, talking about Proof Collective, Moonbirds, and then codename High Rise, which is going to be their metaverse experience. So let's start with Proof Collective. their focus there has been unlocking exclusive access to the community, all the collectors that they know, all the people who are really ingrained in the proof ecosystem. They're having a focus on the research side of things. So they want to give proof holders a leg up in the NFT market when it comes to collecting. They brought on a really top-notch statistician to work on the team there. They're going to have, they're trying to establish proof as a go-to resource for high-level research on the NFT space. They're going to be putting out different types of reports daily, weekly, monthly on the state of the market, different projects that they have their eyes on, trends in the market, things like that. So they're doing a lot of cool stuff to holders there. Now, before I go further, the Proof Collective Pass is trading about 60 ETH, so you're definitely putting up a pretty penny to be a part of it. But the access that you have to the team, to other members of the community who, from my understanding are, very high level, is very valuable. If I don't know if you're in a position to spend that much money, I know I'm personally not going to be, but I could see myself getting involved in Moonbirds to a different extent. But just a heads up that, you're going to get what you pay for with a lot of really great stuff. They also went into a big talk, which I thought was really cool, about the focus around art and how they're viewing themselves as stewards for creative expression and leaning into being a launch pad for artists to share their work. Those were their words, which, I think is very, very cool. And they have a few different ways they're going to do this, 4 to be exact. They're going to keep doing grails. So if you are new to Moonbirds, new to grails, essentially 3 times a year, they're going to have a drop where Proof Collective Pass holders and anyone holding a Moonbird with the Grail trait is going to get a mint pass. And you're going to be able to choose for each mint pass one piece of work from an artist that you don't know the identity of at first. Once you make your selection, there's a date and time where the selections have to be made by. They'll do a special reveal party like they've done before, and you'll find out who you got a piece of work from. They've had in the past creators such as Snowfro. They've had Drifter from Drifter Shoots. They've had all sorts of really cool artists create pieces. So it's just another fun, innovative way that they've, getting the art scene more involved in the NFT PFP scene. They're also going to have some really cool collaborations. A big focus for the Proof team is on their smart contracts and providing the expertise around that to artists they collaborate with. This is going to allow the artists to do even more cool things with the contracts. That's one of the neat parts about NFTs is you can do a lot of great stuff with these smart contracts to make your art more interesting, add more elements to it. We've seen people in the past have projects where, if anyone listed or sold it, it created a higher supply. But if no one does those things, they just all let them sit for a set amount of time. It limits the supply, makes it more valuable. So there's all sorts of different things. That's just one example. All sorts of cool things you can do with smart contracts. And they want to push the boundaries of what you can do with those things through their collaborations with artists. Another thing I found really cool was their curated product that they're going to be putting out, which is going to have artists and curators come in to create limited releases of their favorite emerging artists. So not only are they giving attention to well-established artists in the NFT space, they're trying to help, lesser known artists be pushed forward, which I think is a great thing, provide a level of notoriety to them that they may not have been able to get on their own. The first season is going to be done in partnership with a Grails artist. They didn't release who it was yet, but someone who is well known in the space is going to have the first crack at that. And then finally, one thing that I think is going to be very great for bringing new people to NFTs is going to be their genesis. So this is going to be established artists in the traditional art world and the physical art world who are going to be brought into NFTs for the first time. So I think this is a really great way to get a new cohort of people into the NFT space, which we desperately need, and trying to get a little bit more, relevance and respect from the traditional art world. All told, they're going to be doing about 10 events a year between Grails, collaborations, curated, and Genesis. So really cool. As they moved into the Moonbirds front, this is where they started to get very excited. They talked about the future and how they are building out an entire business development team to further the Moonbird reach and exposure globally. They want to partner with big brands. They want to get the Moonbird name out there, have it be a household name someday, which I think is really great. From there, they got into the Moonbirds DAO. So if you don't know what a DAO is, decentralized autonomous organization, this is going to allow the Moonbirds holders to try to push the project forward. They'll be able to be empowered to build projects alongside the team. Holders can endorse projects to give trademark rights to. So recently, Moonbirds became a CC0 project. So the rights for the individual birds, anyone can use a bird for any sort of branding, but they can't use a Moonbird's name. Now the DAO will be able to elect brands that they want to partner with them to use the Moonbirds name to further the reach, which I think is really cool. They're also setting up the DAO treasury, which will be able to deploy money that the proof team is going to put into the treasury to invest in further Moonbirds missions, put capital towards projects that the Moonbirds holders are passionate about. There's also going to be continuous funding from Proof as a result of secondary royalties from the Moonbirds project. So whenever Proof makes money from the secondary sale of a Moonbird on a marketplace, they're going to eventually put some of that money to work in the Treasury DAO, which I think is a really cool step forward and something that's going to be great for the space. So, they're just focusing on planning for a slow, thoughtful expansion of Moonbirds, which gets into the next part, which is going to be the Moonbirds Mythics. They are targeting a release of early 2023 with this. And one thing I think is really cool is that they are building out the lore behind Moonbirds. They talk that the Mythics are a collection of 20,000 NFTs that are kind of like buried below ground, where the oddities are helping discover them. The Moonbirds are working with them to hatch these Mythics. Going to go ahead and pull up a little bit of information now about what all this is going to entail. This was a screenshot from the show today, but it's going to be a 20,000 supply. You're going to have the opportunity to burn one of your oddities. So some people didn't particularly care for the art of the oddities. Well, if that's the case, now you can burn one for a chance at a mythic. A really smart way that they're doing this, because in the past we've seen that when an additional collection comes out, it dilutes the value of the original. A 20,000 supply, that's double what we have on Moonbird. That's a lot of NFTs, but they're doing this in a very slow and thought out approach. So each day, 25 oddities can be burned for a mythic, and that's going to be it for the day. It's going to be the same number of mythics can be nested and are going to be dropped to a Moonbird. So if you have one of your Moonbirds nested in that staking contract, they're going to randomly give out 25 mythics a day. They didn't get into, I'm fairly certain that they're going to ensure it to once you win one, you can't win another one. But that's something that, I'm sure they'll expand on later. So a really cool way of doing it. They also in the past have heard that, when they have these drops, there should be a chance of getting a more rare one if you have a more common Moonbird. And so that's what they're going to be doing with the mythics. So they also showed a few pictures that I'll bring up now as well of what the mythics are going to look like. I think they're really cool. They're not pixelated like the original Moonbirds were, but they had their own style to them. And there's a few different ones they showed in the presentation. This is just one of them. But, the art is unique. I think it's pretty cool looking. And it's just another way of them showing that they're putting a lot of thought into this, which is why it's going to be, over a quarter, maybe near the end of Q1, that this comes out. So a lot to look forward to there. It's a pretty cool process that they're doing. I think it's very smart that they're not just dumping them all at once. That could be very bad for the value of the project. So I think that's really great. Finally was Codename High Rise, which, like I said, is going to be their platform, for the metaverse. And one thing that's really neat about this, we've seen with other metaverses that is kept very quiet, very hush hush. They are really focusing on bringing the proof holders, the Moonbird, the oddity holders into the beta testing experience, collecting feedback, doing surveys, trying to find what people like so far, what they don't like, to make it a very collaborative experience, which I think is great. One part that I especially found interesting was the collector curated galleries. So if you're a big fan of collecting art and you're on Codename High Rise and you want to create your own custom gallery with your work, then that's going to be something that you can do. They're going to be able to, have your own gallery, and they really want you to be able to tell a story of what you're displaying. If you're an art lover and you have certain artists that you love, they want to help you, create that. They're going to have cool little things like, information about each piece, if it's been featured in some sort of media, both, proof podcast or otherwise, just so that you can get even more info on the stuff that you're displaying. Artists can choose that this is a part of it. You can discover new artists as well. So I think a really, really cool part there. And then to finish up the call, they had two big announcements. Number one was that they raised an additional $50 million in a round of funding led by Andreessen Horowitz, A16Z. So a lot more capital that they can deploy into High Rise, into these IRL experiences. It goes back and forth on whether, people like having big VC money in the space. But I think if it's deployed thoughtfully, which it sounds like the proof team is going to, it's very valuable. And then finally, they discussed what a lot of people have been waiting for, which is going to be a proof token. Now, they made very, very clear that this is not meant to be another speculative token that gets dropped on the market and is traded back and forth, and people just dump into ETH or USDC and cash out. They want this to be, very unique to proof. They want to have actual utility behind it, and they want to push what's possible forward in new directions with the token. They said to expect a larger unveiling of it in Q1 of 2023. So plenty of time there. I would say overall, this was a really great presentation. In the past, I have not been so sure about the proof team, about Moonbirds, of whether or not it really justified these high valuations. And maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But I think that this was a really great presentation. They changed my mind about a lot of things. I am just personally, not financial advice here, strongly considering buying a Moonbird. It seems like they have a very long-term view of this, which is something that I like to see. They're being very transparent with it. And I think that there's very good reason to be confident in what they're building long term. So that's going to wrap it up for this recap video. Once again, please like today's stream, subscribe to our channel. We'll be putting out content 4 to 5 days a week. Head over to FLOLiO.com, FLOLiO.com. Check out all the tools we have over there. And please drop a comment. Let us know if you're liking our content, or if you think I'm an idiot, I know what I'm talking about. I guess that's cool too. And any feedback we can get is greatly appreciated. So for the team at FLOLiO, I am Jeremy. Have a great day, everybody. We will see you next time.